Hey, coaches, beautiful friends, how are you? Oh my God, background noise. Can you hear that? And just lolling at my background today. A couple of my clients have popped in and been like, what is going on? Where are you? And it's just, I'm getting a new wall put up behind me. So you can see there's a light switch going there. The wall hasn't been painted, so it looks very stark to my normal background, but it's all good. I'm in exactly the same place. Everything's completely fine. It's just a bit of housework, building work going on behind me. So this was a bit funny to set up today. Say hey as you hop on, let me know you can hear because the settings for lives have changed. It looks like everything's right and it's all going on in the right spot, which is great. But do say hi. I can see there's a couple of you that have hopped on. Let me know you're here. And let's talk about self-trust and certainty, which I think is so relevant right now, so relevant to what we're all experiencing, what we're feeling. And it's been something I've been thinking about a lot because I don't know, I'm just really interested in personal development. Obviously, I work with my clients so much on mindset and personal development, as well as obviously the business side, but the two are intertwined. So I've been thinking a lot about self-trust and certainty and how we can go about creating both for ourselves at the moment, despite what's going on around us. Because self-trust and a feeling of certainty are really things that you can create for yourself, right? They're things that you get to feel and you get to create for yourself and you get to build up and strengthen regardless of what's going on. So even though the kids are home and there's chaos going on out there, I can still build self-trust and certainty. I can build that up for myself and believe that to be true in my business, regardless of kind of the circumstances that are going on around us. And so I just wanted to briefly share some thoughts I've been having around this. So I have no idea if this is working properly. It looks like it is. I can't tell from the live stream, but it looks like it is. So, and it looks like there's a couple of people on. So let me know, have you been noticing some things creeping up around thinking around self-trust and thinking around certainty? And the reason I paired the two together is I think they're really interrelated. Just laughing at the kids. Oh my God, you guys feel me. I know you're all adjusting to things that are going on. So what I've been thinking about is, and the reason I started thinking about this is because it's really applying to myself and like a new exercise regime I'm like implementing for myself at the moment. But as I reflected on that, it showed me some things that I was working through a few months ago in my business, and I could see the parallels and I was like, this is the same thing. So self-trust, like let's dive in around that first. So what I can see with self-trust and why I think this is so important right now is we have a lot of reasons or excuses or whatever to not do the things that we say we're going to do. And self-trust comes when we do the things that we say we're going to do. Now, this can relate to exercise, to eating, and to business as well, right? Like it's the same concept, right? So, for example, one of the things I see happen a lot is like, I'll write my content tomorrow. I'll do this thing tomorrow. Like for me, for example, when I was going to bed, I was like, I'll go for a run tomorrow. And a few months ago, I'd worked with my coach on some things I would sort of set up for myself. So like when this milestone happened in my business, I would do this thing, right? So like hire a VA and hire a cleaner for my house, right? Like I'd sort of set certain things that I'd committed to doing once I'd achieved certain things in my business. And it was interesting because this was a few months ago, but I noticed, for example, like with the VA, I still hit the milestone in my business that I said I would, but a part of me didn't want to go ahead with the thing I'd committed to doing, right? And it was interesting because I thought like, if I don't follow through on the thing, like there's always an excuse or a reason why not to. But I could really see in myself that if I didn't follow through on the thing I said I was going to do, I would start eroding the trust in myself and I would start not believing the things I would say I was going to do. So for example, the VA, I was like, once I hit a certain milestone in my business, I'd hire a VA and that would help me grow and scale beyond that. And it's so interesting how even with that commitment and then even when we hit that thing, we still don't necessarily feel like it's the right time or I want to do that or all the things. And I notice it too, like with the running, for example, the other day I like set everything up beside my bed. So when I got up, I was going to put my clothes on and go for a run. And I committed to myself. I made a decision for myself. Tomorrow morning, I will be going for a run. And then when I woke up in the morning, I didn't feel like it, right? Like, who can relate to that? But I realized there was no reason for me not to do it, except that I didn't feel like it. And I'd made a decision to do that. So if I didn't follow through on that, like I'm not talking about if I fell over and broke my leg or something like that, I'm talking about like just not feeling it, right? If I didn't follow through on the decision I'd made for myself, it starts to erode my trust in myself. And this is where I see a lot of people get stuck, and they can be saying like, I'll do my content tomorrow, I'll get visible next week, I'll do all of these things, but they're not really deciding that is what they're going to do, and then they don't follow through, so it erodes their self-trust. Can you guys relate? Let me know. I'd love to hear some comments if you're watching along, what comes up for you. And I'm just wondering, maybe the comments aren't working, I'm not sure. So can you guys relate to that feeling of like, when I say I'm going to do something, it doesn't mean anything, I don't follow through on myself. And the reason this is so important, right, is it really impedes on our ability to make decisions. It really impedes on our ability to grow our business. And it really impedes on our ability to like reward ourselves. So with the idea of like, once I hit a certain thing, I'd hire a cleaner, I noticed, for example, resistance there, but like that was the reward I was giving my brain. So, I mean, a step back from that is that I noticed I had some fears of success, of stepping into a new level for myself around like, that it might amount to more work and all these things, right? And so what I did was I gave my brain a reward to focus on. So like if I achieve that milestone, not if, but when I achieve that milestone, I'm going to hire a house cleaner as a reward for myself and really show that I've stepped into that next level version of myself, right? If I didn't give my brain that reward as well, it doesn't build and foster that trust for itself. It doesn't give it the thing to say, well, like, it's worth me putting myself out there. It's worth me going and creating my dreams. It's worth me, like, I know it sounds crazy because we're like, yeah, it's always worth earning more money and like growing our business. But there are challenges along the way. And so like that reward built trust in myself to follow through and do the things that were aligned with a bigger vision that I had. Does that make sense? This is just like some concepts I'm really sharing with and been thinking about a lot. And I just think they're so relevant to what's going on right now. I still can't see if the comments are working. So I'd love to hear, do you feel like you've been eroding your self-trust, or do you feel like you've been growing your self-trust at the moment? And self-trust can come from those things, like I said, like saying that I'm going to do exercise tomorrow and waking up and actually doing it. That works the muscle. That builds self-trust in myself. And that means every time afterwards, it's easier because I trust myself. So when I make a decision that I'm going to do something, I trust myself that I'm going to show up and do it because I have all this evidence of times that I've done it. Okay, does that make sense? And you can see how this connects into certainty. So I'd love to just hear your thoughts. Does that resonate? Do you feel like at the moment you're fostering self-trust, or are you eroding your self-trust, right? And it just takes a decision again to say like, no, I'm going to grow self-trust, right? I've had lots of discussions with clients about this over the last couple of weeks, is if you want to do something, decide you will do it and then do it. And that's how you build the self-trust. And you can see how that starts to flow on and create certainty, right? We can still create certainty within ourselves, within our business, within our lives, within our routines, even though all the external feels uncertain, right? The external has always been uncertain. It's just being mirrored to us in a global scale right now. But so self-trust then breeds certainty, right? So if you know when you say you're going to do something and you decide to do something, you do it, then you have certainty in yourself and trust in yourself. And that starts to replicate in terms of a greater feeling of certainty. And the thing I was thinking about with this is, that idea of like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I trust in myself that I'm going to be okay. And when I was thinking about that, because I was thinking like, how can I tell my clients like everything's going to be okay when we literally don't know the answer to that, right? But what I do know is like, I'm going to be okay because what I know is I trust in myself and I believe in myself and I have certainty in myself that no matter the circumstances, I will adapt and show up and be okay through them, right? So this is where self-trust is so important, because it starts to build that belief in yourself that no matter the circumstances, you will follow through on the things you know you need to do to be okay. Does that make sense? So certainty can come from growing self-trust, from making decisions and following through from them. And then I also think from a really practical sense, certainty can come from building out little routines. So you know what's happening tomorrow. You know what you're doing in your business. You know what you're doing in your life. So you can foster certainty around yourself regardless of what's going on. So there have been some things I've really been thinking about over the last few days, and I really just wanted to share that with you because it's easy right now to hand our power over and say like, I'm not decisive, I don't follow through, it's uncertain, I have no control, right? And the funny thing is like, none of that's actually true, because decision, trust, certainty within yourself comes from within, and you can still create that right now. So some of the things, let's talk of some really practical things. Some of the things I've been calling out with my clients, just little things around their language, and not in a nasty way, just in like a fun way, is like, one of my clients messaged me last night and she's like, I'll try and do that tomorrow. Which that is not a decision, and that doesn't foster self-trust. It's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. So I said, can we reset and reword that and say, I will do this tomorrow. And then the question is, what do we need to do to make sure that happens tomorrow, right? Building that trust in ourselves that if we know we need to do something, we will do it. Or if we want to do something, we will do it. There was another example. Someone else sent me something a couple of days ago. I think it was similar. I hope this is just the beginning of this thing, right? So the language was like, I hope this is just the beginning. And I was like, well, you can decide that it is the beginning and you do trust in yourself to take all of the actions to make this continue, right? So you can pick up these little things in your language that show like, are these fostering certainty and trust within myself and my ability to get the results and to take the actions? Or are these gently eroding them away and taking my power away? I hope, I'll try, maybe, right? One of the biggest things, and especially with clients in kind of them who aren't my clients, but in like the early stage of contact together, so in the sales process, I'm always trying to move clients out of maybe. They're not my clients, but people who are interested in getting support in their business, one of the best places I want them to land in is, are they a yes or are they a no? Like, I don't mind either way, but like, move into certainty. Make a decision and trust yourself on it, right? Can you see how important that is? Whereas like, I'm undecided, maybe I will, maybe I won't, versus like the self-trust is like, I know I'm a no on that, and I'm willing to put myself out and like say like, it's a no right now. Or like, I know this is what I want and it feels scary, but I trust in myself to make really good decisions, so I'm going to say yes. Because I've been thinking about it from the politician standpoint, right? Like watching in Australia, our Prime Minister doing all of his speeches and all of his announcements. And it got me thinking about decision making, right? And we can never go back on a decision based on information that comes out after the decision, right? So like, people are making decisions based on the circumstances right now. Do I hold my kids back from school? Do I continue to show up in my business? Like, there's so many decisions we're making, and we can only make our decisions on the information we have to hand right now, right? So many people are being critical of the politicians because like, in hindsight, maybe they made the wrong decision, right? And I think we can do this so much to ourselves too. I made that decision, but then this information came to light afterwards which showed me it was potentially the wrong decision. And I just don't believe in that way of thinking, right? I believe like we make the decision that's best with the time, like with the information we have at the time. And we just say that was the best decision I could have made at the time. And maybe in the future we need to decide, make another decision. But we can never go back and make the decisions we've already made wrong. There are no wrong decisions. There just maybe have to be course corrections in the future. And the politicians have really showed this to me because I've been feeling for them, right? Like this is so crazy what's going on. And it's reflected a lot to me, like, because I know I was stuck on something I'd done a couple of years ago in my business. I was like, that was the wrong decision. That was the wrong investment to make. That wasn't the best use of my funds, blah, 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 with something I'd enrolled in, right? And what I've actually done is like, no, that was actually the best decision I could have made with the information I had at hand at the time. And in hindsight, I realized like perhaps it wasn't like the best use, but it still taught me a lot of things, right? And I'd love for you to start looking at your decisions that way, because that builds so much trust, right? That builds so much certainty from within. I always make the right decisions with the information I have at hand. And I know I might need to decide again later, but I can never make the wrong decision. Right? That's been really reflected to me a lot with everything that's going on right now. And I just think it's really useful because I think so many of us can be really hard on ourselves all the time, and especially even more so right now. But if we just agree that like we can never be hard on ourselves for information that comes to light in the future, right? We can build self-trust on the daily. We can believe in ourselves as an amazing decision maker, right? And that fosters certainty in our business. That fosters the belief that we will show up, that we do make the right decisions, that I can trust myself to do the things I need to do. It can create certainty in terms of I know the steps that I need to do and I'm going to do them, and I know they're connected to results, right? It's just a really big shift in the way of thinking. And I don't really have like a key takeaway. I just really wanted to share this conversation with you guys today because it's really been on my mind. Like it has been circling around my mind for probably like a week. And I just thought it was such a powerful thing to share. So I just hope that's been really helpful. And if you rewatch this back, let me know. If you're on the call now, let me know. And just, has that been helpful in helping you think about how you can take control and power back over the situation right now? And it can come from those micro things, right? It can decide this morning what you're going to have for lunch today and follow through on that. It can decide that this has been a huge lesson for me, right? I was just going to say, like, you can decide you're not going to have a glass of wine tonight and follow that through. That was a huge one for me because I think I've mentioned on here, I decided to stop drinking in March. For the month of March was the decision, right? And then coronavirus happened. And I was like, this is a perfect excuse to have a wine. But I realized if I went back on that decision, I would erode trust in myself. I would erode certainty in my decisions because I decided to do something for 31 days and there was no reason for me not to stick through that. Right, so can you see how if you've decided something and then you let yourself off the hook, you kind of erode the self-trust, right? So you can build this for yourselves through lots of things. So like deciding what you're going to have for lunch tomorrow, today and following through, deciding you're not going to have a chocolate at 3 o'clock and following through, deciding that you're going to share a piece of content and just like hitting post and running away from your computer and just doing it, okay? These are the ways you can build self-trust, is deciding what you are going to do and then following through on that. And over time, self-trust will grow, certainty will grow, and a belief in your decision making and your ability to step into the CEO role of your business will grow. So I really wanted to share that with you today. I wanted to keep it short, so we're just about to hit 20 minutes, which is exactly where I wanted to be. I really hope that's helped. I just have a feeling the comments aren't working, so I don't know if you guys have left comments. I will definitely circle back around and check. Hopefully that was something that really just got you thinking about what you can control and how self-trust is important to being the CEO in your business, and not just in your business, but I think more generally in life at the moment. Because I consider myself to be a mindset coach and a personal development coach, and I apply that in business, but I really have seen myself over the past few weeks really applying this and practicing it across so many different areas of my life. So I really wanted to share that with you today. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have questions. I'm super excited to be here as always with you guys. I hope you loved this and I hope it helped you just think about some things in a different way. And as always, I love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to leave a comment, send me a DM, let me know what you thought. I always love hearing from you guys. And happy Friday. I hope you have a fab Friday, a great week. I hope you're staying well and adapting and whatever it is. It's so different for everyone, right? Like, I hope wherever you are, you're feeling strong within yourself and you're feeling certainty and you're, seeing opportunity in this time. And if that's not the case, I really encourage you, just like I mentioned on last week's live, to reach out for support. All of my clients are offering so much support to their community and their clients at the moment. So if you need help with something else, I have great contacts who are sobriety coaches, people that help people from overeating, people that help people build up communication skills and working from home and all kinds of things. So if you're struggling with a certain area, and it's not really relevant to your business, but you're looking for a recommendation for a coach, also feel free to reach out because I have great people to recommend in my community. So I hope that helps. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're getting through this. I hope you are seeing this as an opportunity to step into new things in your life too. And if that's not you, that's also okay. I hope you're taking care of yourself and giving yourself the grace and the space if you need it, and calling in the support that you may need. So I'm going to love you and leave you there. I hope you are having the best day that you can in the circumstances, and I will chat soon. Bye.